amazing that you were able to say, no, that's not my normal, because so many people take what the doctors say as truth and come away and go, oh, the doctor said it's normal. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes that actually gives us almost an excuse to not deal with it, because the doctor says it's normal, so I can stop thinking about it. And that's when we see problems, even with tumors and stuff like that. We find something, go to the doctor said it was fine, they didn't need to do a biopsy, so I'm just not going to think about it.
Of course, as soon as I started in my late 20s, my facial plastic surgeon I worked for, oh, you could use a little Botox up here, just pointing at my forehead. Back then, let me tell you, look at now with no Botox. At 20 something, I definitely did not need any. But again, I wouldn't have understood that at the time.
Welcome back to Reconditioned. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Lauren Vaknin. If you are new to the show, welcome. This is the place where it's a hub. It's a hub for all things wellness and growth. We don't niche it down, anything. And really, that is everything, because everything leads to our wellness. So we cover absolutely everything from intuition and spirituality to manifestation to holistic beauty like we're doing today, and breast thermography and nutrition and entrepreneurship, because that has been something that I've realized recently, that women want to step into their power. So intentional entrepreneurship. And we're really stepping into talking about that here on the podcast and with my new course, the Female Entrepreneur Academy, which you can check out on my website. So today's episode, I'm so excited about, because I've been following Amanda for quite a while. She is the holistic beauty coach on Instagram. And as someone who had an explant myself, i.e. removal of breast implants based on... So if you want to know more about my story, because I don't really talk about it in this episode because I didn't want to go over old ground, go back and find the episode that I did with Rain Dunn about our explant surgeries. I apologize, I can't see what episode number it is, and I could probably find it if I start scrolling now. But I'm not 100% sure. So you'll find that if you, it's not too far down, I don't think. Oh, there we go, episode 104. So episode 104 is all about breast implant illness and my journey with breast implants, because I had breast implants because the chemo drug that I was on when I was 18 deformed my breasts. So I will preface by saying I don't think I was always quite holistic, regardless of, the last 10 years of going into remission. I was always pretty holistic. So I don't think I necessarily would have been someone that got implants because I was trying not to put anything new in my body that didn't belong there. But hey ho, I did it because I was, in my early 20s and had very deformed breasts, two very different sizes. And that was really important to me to look nice. It's still important to me to a certain extent to express my authenticity through how I look. But I do that in a very different way. And as we speak about in this episode, it is all about vibration. So you become magnetic based on your vibration, on the frequency at which you vibrate, based on your actions, the thoughts you keep, the feelings you hold, the trauma you dissolve from working through it, the food you eat, the high vibrational food you eat. All these things add to your vibration. So why are some people so magnetic that they walk into a room and everyone wants to be around them? It's vibration. So this leads so nicely into beauty. And so I spoke to Amanda about her journey with breast implant illness, because she has a fascinating story working in the industry in Beverly Hills and being so sick herself. But we also talk about holistic beauty as a whole, Botox, fillers, lip fillers, and the standards that we're held to, and understanding all these things and how they play a part in your long-term health as well. So we speak about Amanda mentioned quite a few ways of, because this is something I always talk about, we don't need to have Botox and inject ourselves full of poisons in order to feel or look good. There are ways to help your skin and help with aging and slow down the aging process, not just in how you look, but in how you feel in every aspect of your body. There are ways to do that naturally. So we spoke about breast thermography. In terms of if you do have implants, checking, how everything is doing, and even if you don't, in order to prevent breast cancer and detect it way earlier. Thermography, I did a few episodes back with Dr. Nigel Eccles, the natural doctor. So check that out as well, all about breast thermography. And you can find information about his clinic and a discount code for that on my website. So we also spoke about red light therapy being a huge factor in the aging process because it increases collagen production. So I have a red light panel at home. I use it I usually say 3 to 4, but I would say it's probably 4 to 5 times per week. I do it for thyroid function as well because my thyroid can have a tendency to be a bit sluggish. So I do a lot of things to optimize my thyroid. At the moment, thankfully, it's really balanced, which is great. But I do a lot of things to optimize my thyroid, and red light therapy is one of those things. But I do it for my skin also. Increases collagen production. You can also take collagen in your smoothies, in your morning smoothies. I have a load of recommendations for those on the website. If you go to my website, laurenvacnine.co.uk, there's a page called LV Recommends, and I created that a while back, and me and my team spent hours upon hours on this page because I get asked for so many recommendations every day, and I realized that I really needed to serve my community by making that a bit more accessible, and also to save a bit of time for me constantly messaging people back with recommendations. So I've now split it into categories. So there's everything from aging to hormones to children and pregnancy to men, beauty and skincare. Everything you can imagine is in categories, so it's easy for you to find. So collagen will be on there. The red light therapy, the red light panels will be on there. The other thing we spoke about was infrared saunas. I don't have a recommendation for those, although I do use my friend's one regularly. I go around to her house because she's got one, and I actually can't remember the name of the brand. It's a really good one. I'll pop it in the show notes. I'll remind myself later and pop it in the show notes. And then we also spoke about Living Libations products, which are my favorite. The Living Libations Best Skin Ever, made with sea buckthorn oil, which is incredible, has done wonders for my skin. I use it to remove my makeup, and I massage it into my skin with a jade roller every night, or the gua sha. And I swear by that. And I also use their lip balms. Everybody loves the Sunshine, it's called, which is a zinc oxide sun. I don't want to call it sunscreen. We're not screening ourselves from the sun. It is a sun product. Let's call it that. I use their makeup. I use their toothbrush, their toothpaste, pretty much everything. And it is all on my website. And everything I've just mentioned is on my website with discount codes. And I will pop them in the show notes for you as well to make that a bit easier. So those are and a water system as well. Water was one of the things we covered as being one of the most important things you can do for your hair, for your health, your skin, aging, your mitochondria, the rejuvenation of cells, absolutely everything. Water is integral, as is sleep. And these are all the things we speak about on the episode. So the last thing I want to say before we move into the episode is to touch on the importance of strengthening and keeping clean your pineal gland. I speak about this a lot. If you haven't heard me speak about this, the pineal gland is the seat of consciousness. It is the thing that connects us from this 3D reality to fourth density, 5D consciousness. And it is being dulled and dimmed by all the things in our modern life, like, excessive blue light, artificial blue light, medications, the fluoride in our drinking water. These are things that are known to impact the function and the aliveness of the pineal gland. So do everything you can to keep that healthy, to keep your awakeness, to keep yourself awake to the reality, the truth behind what it is we're constantly being fed and being told. And I know I'm sounding really conspiratorial, but I actually hate that word because I think we have to look beyond what we're being told in order to be healthy. Look at all the hippiest people in the world, and they are the healthier ones. There is a reason for it. There is a reason that those of us who are connected to self, to consciousness, to something beyond ourselves, who have a spiritual practice, are feeling healthier. So please find that connection to consciousness, to your pineal gland. Work on your third eye chakra. Work on opening it, on strengthening it. And there are many ways to do this. I won't go into all of them now, but that's just my advice to you. You can also get some good crystals to support that. Like magnetite will really support the pineal gland, having that all around your house on a bracelet. So that is my advice for that. So without further ado, we will get into this episode with Amanda Porta, the holistic beauty coach. The advice I get asked for probably more than anything else is supplements. Where do I get my high quality supplements? I am so particular about my supplements and I research every single ingredient, right down to what the capsule shell is made of, which is why my clients trust my recommendations so much. Now, because I'm super picky, I get all my supplements from AMRITA Nutrition, and I found them about a decade ago because they were the only UK stockist to stock Seeking Health products, which were developed specifically for MTHFR. And I've stayed with them ever since because they literally stock the absolute highest quality brands from all over the world, like Moss Nutrition, Quicksilver, Apex, and so many others that I love. And I know that anything I get from them is going to be the utmost highest quality. They also offer personal support at every stage from their customer care team and in-house nutritional practitioners. So you can order using practitioner invite code Lauren, which will get you 10% off all supplements, which will be applied to every order once you've set up an account. And you can also create your own protocols once you've set up an account, which is pretty cool. And I've gone ahead and created a collection of all my favorite supplements with Amrita, which you can find in the show notes or on my website. Otherwise, just visit amritanutrition.co.uk and don't forget to use code Lauren for 10% off. Thank you so much to Amrita for supporting our mission here at Reconditioned. Amanda, thank you so much for being here. We made it happen.
Yes, thank you so much for being patient. I'm so happy to finally be sitting down with you.
Oh, same. And I'm so excited to have this conversation. I've been having this conversation quite a bit over the past year. Well, kind of holistic beauty I've been talking about for quite a few years now. Breast implant illness over the past year or so. I know you spoke to my bestie, Rain, as well on her podcast about it.
She's your bestie?
She's my bestie. She's the love of my life. Don't tell my husband.
I didn't know that. I love
She's
Rain. She's so
amazing.
lovely. And we had a really wonderful chat.
Yeah, she's incredible. And yeah, we kind of went through the breast implant illness journey together, she and I, and we've done a podcast episode on this podcast about it also. And we really kind of went into ingredients and symptoms and all kind of stuff like that. So I'm going to take it a little bit of a different angle with you. But let's start here. What have you done so far today to support your wellness?
Ooh, so far today, I have done a 20-minute guided meditation for abundance. And I've already had my smoothie with dates and blueberries and all sorts of yummy stuff.
Wow. Awesome. Well, it's early there, right? So you've done a lot.
Yeah, it's only
For 9
9
a.m.
a.m. here.
Brilliant. I love that. Start the morning off as you mean to go on.
Yes, absolutely.
So I always like to start episodes with a guest, with you taking me through your background and kind of how you came to do what you do, and like, where are you from and what are you all about and why do you do what you do?
Yes, well, I'm from an area in Northern California and grew up for much of my life there, and then did spend some time in the Pacific Northwest. Well, I've been in the beauty industry since college, not intentionally, just ended up working for a spa in my neighborhood. And from there, worked at med spas and plastic surgery. It wasn't until after I decided to get breast implants for a condition that I had when I was in my 20s that I decided to work in plastic surgery because I wanted to help other women who might have the same condition feel better about themselves.
Tell me about that.
So I had a very, I would say, slight, I only really noticed it, but at the end of the day, it's called a tubular breast deformity. And for me, my breast tissue there was just very constricted. I've always been pretty tiny. I'm a dancer and ballerina by training. And so for me, like, ballerinas usually we don't have big breasts. And that wasn't the issue, but it always felt very tight in my chest. And I also thought if I want to have children in the future, the idea of kind of using the breast implants as a way to push the tissue out might be a good idea, almost like an expander for women. I did try to solve the issue with just a surgery, but it was just kind of unsuccessful. So that's when they say, oh, well, if we use breast implants, that will certainly improve this. So reluctantly, I said yes. And that was in 2003. I received my first pair of implants and they were saline. Then a year later, I needed to replace them because I had capsular contracture in one. And the new surgeon said, well, why don't we replace them with silicone? And I do remember saying, wait a minute, isn't silicone bad? Because at the time, you couldn't normally get silicone unless you had already gotten saline. They were bringing them back to the market after having been like banned for 10 years or so. So I said, isn't it bad? And he said, well, no, we've made them so much better now. And we're going to be following you in a study. So I said, okay. I mean, he was the doctor, and I received the new implants in silicone. But I did start having hormonal disruption within about 9 months, and I was never followed up with a study.
Were those hormonal issues really new to you? Had you ever had any other symptoms of anything before? Because what I see a lot is when you've already got an autoimmune disease, which I did, and other symptoms, it's really hard to differentiate what is affecting you and what's not. So it's really interesting to speak to women who had never had any symptoms, and then you really can pinpoint it.
I always say that, like, aside from the breast implants, for me, I guess I was so lucky. I never really was sick other than occasionally the common cold. I don't even think I got a cold once a year. So I'd never really gone to the doctor's office and never had those experiences. So yeah, this was new to me. And they were also hormonal issues like night sweats, ruptured ovarian cyst, things, again, you can't necessarily prove are the breast implants, but usually, night sweats and these things, I said to her, I said, these are like perimenopausal symptoms. And I'm only in my mid 20s. And she said, oh, well, that's your normal. And I said, no, that's not normal. And that's why I'm visiting you today. So, I realized that I've been kind of going through advocating for myself now for well over 20 years.
Amazing that you were able to say, no, that's not my normal, because so many people take what the doctors say as truth and come away and go, oh, the doctor said it's normal. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes that actually gives us almost an excuse to not deal with it, because the doctor says it's normal, so I can stop thinking about it. And that's when we see problems, even with tumors and stuff like that. We find something, go to the doctor said it was fine, they didn't need to do a biopsy, so I'm just not going to think about it.
Yeah. I see it a lot today with patients who come in. I do a discovery call with each of them. And during the discovery call, I mean, before I even have it with them, I'll send them a list of symptoms because they'll say, oh, no, no, I'm not sick. I just want to remove them for X, Y, and Z reason. And I say, great. I don't want anyone to be sick. And then I'll say, just, would you mind looking over the symptoms? I just want to kind of see. And they'll call me, and some of them say, I've got every symptom on the list. And I'll say, and you don't think that you're sick at all? And they say, no, no, no. The doctor said that this is normal for someone in their 40s.
We've normalized ill health. I mean, it's completely normal to not to feel autoimmune these days, and to have brain fog, and to have a whole load of symptoms that actually aren't normal and show that we're not in homeostasis, but actually it's become normalized.
Absolutely. And I just was not willing to accept that when they said that 57 pounds of inflammation was just normal for a 40-year-old to gain. Because as soon as I took my breast implants out, all the inflammation went away, and I'm the same weight and look the same that I did before even getting the implants. So I don't agree.
We've got so much to delve into: the breast implants, the breast implant illness, and also holistic beauty as a whole, which I really want to go there. But because you've mentioned about your clinic and about patients, I'd love for you to tell us what it is you do for work now.
Oh, okay. So when I got them out, I wasn't really thinking ahead. And about 3 weeks after the surgery, I thought to myself, wait a minute, what am I going to do for a job? And I actually did take a job in hair restoration for a short time, just because it was still in my wheelhouse. And I thought this won't harm anyone. But then after about 6 months, Dr. Brenner, who took my breast implants out, Kevin Brenner in Beverly Hills, he said to me, would you like to work with me and handhold these women through surgery? Because I cannot imagine what they've been through. And I said, absolutely. I'd love to be a patient advocate now because I really see the need for it. And I don't think people realize that there are people like me out there who want to handhold you through these situations. And it's worked out beautifully. And I created a social media platform where a lot of women come to me wanting to talk about breast implant illness and holistic health and holistic beauty. And so I do the discovery call with all of our patients. And then I help, since I'm a health coach now, help them prep their bodies before and after surgery. And we even started a holistic breast team
Oh, I love that.
and detox and heal these women after their surgery.
How amazing. It kind of reminds me of my biological dentist. They do this whole pre thing before you have any treatment with them. So if they're going to correct, like where people have had, tooth removals where there's, cavitations inside, and you're going through a whole holistic process of dentistry, which is so different. And they put you on a 4 to 6 week nutrition plan first with
Yes.
specific supplements. And when you're having the treatment with them, they give you IV vitamins and, ozone therapy and a whole load of other great stuff. So this is the holistic approach to
Yeah.
medicine, right? That's what it should be in every aspect of medicine.
Yes, that was always my dream to have a clinic with practitioners all under one roof. So when a patient comes in, you have everything from
Mm,
your primary to your gyno to maybe a chiropractor, maybe there's yoga there. And but everybody's your holistic dentist.
yeah.
Everybody can work as a team to help the patient. So I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe that is going to happen
Do you
more
know
and
what's
more.
my dream is similar to that, but I've always dreamt, and I will do it one day, of opening a charity like that so people can, because holistic healing is so expensive and it shouldn't be. I mean, there are amazing things we can do for free, but you want to go and get your implants out, and then you want to start buying all the supplements and the organic food and the rest of it, and having red light therapy. Like, it's expensive. I
Yeah.
have this dream of having some sort of clinic where people can pay kind of subsidized fees based on what they earn and have enough money for us to subsidize those treatments. But anyway, that will happen one day, hopefully.
I think it will. I think all of these things have the potential of happening. And I
Mm.
mean, I had that download back in 2012 that the future was going to be all about holistic medicine and non-toxic living. And so even back then, I was trying to incorporate holistic medicine with plastic surgery
Mm.
and created a non-toxic skincare line, etc.
Amazing. So tell me about Dr. Brenner.
Dr. Brenner's amazing because when I really started putting the puzzle pieces together that it could be my breast implants, and of course I didn't know, but I had been sick for 7.5 years and nothing was working. And I was spending so much money just to maintain. And when it was actually my colonic practitioner, she brought it to my attention. She said, I think I know why you're sick. I think it might be your breast implants. And I thought, my breast implants, but this is what I do for a living. And I don't have women coming in who are sick to any of the offices. And that's true. And she said, no, I've had 11 women who are clients, and only just this year alone have removed them. And they look and sound like you. So I wasn't really convinced at first, but then I did start having consults with some plastic surgeons in Beverly Hills over those next few weeks. And after three of them, I wanted to give up just because they said, this is not real. These women are crazy. It's not their breast implants. I said, but I've been in groups with over 100,000 women. They all sound like me. No, no, you're not going to be happy. Don't remove them. So I went home and I prayed, and I really was on my hands and knees, just saying, God, if you find me a doctor who will remove these, I even bet it will look great. Like, I'm just going to put all of my faith in you. And I don't even know how I thought to say that at the
Mm.
time, but I mean, that just kind of shows how low I was. And I Googled again a few days later, and Dr. Kevin Brenner popped up. And I just thought to myself, this has to be a sign, right? So I went in, not really knowing if I was going to expect anything different than the other surgeons. But he listened to me, my entire story, and he said, I think that it's time that we take them out and leave them out. And that was the right answer for me. And I said, you know what, sir, I feel the same way. Like I'm ready to do this. No matter what it's going to look like and what I'm left with, I just have to feel normal again. And so then we removed them 3 weeks later.
Wow. And is that what he's mainly doing now, explants?
A lot. He obviously does other surgeries and he's amazing. Rhinoplasty, body contouring, all sorts of different surgeries, abdominoplasty. But we're doing a lot only because so many women are sharing notes, hearing about this. And it's not just for illness. I mean, a majority are sick and or have enough of these symptoms that they're willing to try removal. But some just because they're living a non-toxic lifestyle, just would rather remove them now, or women who are saying to themselves, why wait until we're older
Yeah.
and risk, having a rupture or something that we have to then remove them.
Yeah.
So it's a variety of reasons.
Something that has always been a bit of a challenge for me, and I know it is to most people I speak to, is fitting in the time for all the spiritual and self development practices I want to do. I'd like to meditate and do breath work and yoga and walk in nature and connect with my guides and journaling and so much more, all the things every day. But we can't do all the things every day. I'm a mum, I run a business, and even as someone who really does put this stuff first, it's pretty impossible to fit it all in. So the one thing that's really helped me over the past year is the SENSATE. It is a piece of health tech that fits in the palm of your hand, and it basically sends infrasonic waves through the chest to activate the vagus nerve and calm the autonomic nervous system. And you use it while playing the specially composed audio within the app. It's actually pretty genius. And honestly, at the moment, with my days being more full on than they've ever been, using the Sensate is really the one thing that I know will work on so many aspects of my well-being at once. So even if I haven't had time to do any other practices during the day, I lie down at night and I use the Sensate for 10 to 20 minutes before I sleep. And it reduces cortisol levels, it calms my brainwave states, it gives me great optimized sleep, it calms anxiety, and because of how it activates the vagus nerve, it deepens my meditation. So I can kind of do all that in one go. And I also take it everywhere with me. So if I've got 10 minutes in the car while I'm waiting for the school gates to open, I can just do it then without the pressure of knowing that meditation would be a bit challenging when I'm probably in heightened brainwave states at that point. So for me, generally, it's been pretty life-changing. And if what I spoke about resonates with you at all, you can get £30 off the Sensate by visiting getsensate.com and using code Lauren30. That's GETSENSATE.com, Lauren30. Thank you so much to Sensate for supporting our mission here at Reconditioned. So take me through what these symptoms are when a woman comes to you and she fills in this form. What are the symptoms on that form that you're asking them?
Well, I would say just the most common ones, and sometimes the women have almost everyone on the list. Fatigue, I feel like I hear, and again, fatigue can be caused by other things, doesn't necessarily have to be your breast implants. Um, their hair is falling out or thinning or very dry skin, eyes, and hair. And that's your lymphatic system in my mind. That's what I realized, that the breast implants were really congesting my lymphatic system. So for me, I really talk to my followers about lymphatic health as well as my patients. Autoimmune illnesses, whether they have the symptoms of or an actual diagnosis, hormonal disruption, and that can kind of be anything from, and like, again, I hear that a lot. Night sweats are a big one. Skin issues, rashes, that's huge. And usually around the breast area. I have women though who have had it like on their arms where they itch so much that, they're like, the skin's coming off. It's so irritated. And that itching has stopped in those cases after the breast implants have come out.
It screams toxicity, right? Because the sluggish lymphatic system, the itching. I mean, heroin addicts scratch all the time because it's so toxic and it's in their blood, right? All these symptoms scream toxicity.
Well, yeah, and when in my case, when I took thermography scans of my body and I could see that my underarms, clavicle, and pelvis were really red and inflamed, and I thought to myself, well, I'm not sweating. And if you're not sweating and using that elimination pathway, well, then you're holding on to toxins. And I felt toxic. And what causes autoimmune illness? Inflammation and holding on to toxins. And so eventually, if you don't take these red flags and make some changes, it can lead to more serious diagnoses, which you do not want.
So you weren't sweating and you hadn't realized that, and then you just realized it like, oh, I'm not sweating. This is actually a problem.
Yeah, I just thought like, but too, I again had all this inflammation and I wasn't working out as rigorously as I had in the past. And just I was happy to just be able to walk. So, I thought, well, I'm just not very sweaty because I'm just walking more than anything. I would live by the beach and I would walk around there. And then in about 2018, I actually got neuropathy in both of my legs. And so I lost the feeling in my legs. And so again, walking was just about all I could do. I was so winded just walking up a flight of stairs. It's like I was a retired football player.
Wow.
And that's just not me. I mean, now I'm back to working out, lifting weights, doing it all, and I feel great. So,
Yeah. So the idea is to stop normalizing this stuff.
and just talking about it more. I mean, that was the other download I had back then was if doctors don't start really listening and taking these things seriously, like I can't tell you how many times they just kind of brushed me off like I was a nuisance and just wanted me
Mm.
out of their office.
Mm. I'm reading a book at the moment called Unwell Women by Eleanor Cleghorn.
Oh,
Um, and it is just all about that, all about how through the ages women have just been called hysterical and diagnosed with hysteria for
yes.
daring to say that something was bothering their bodies. I mean, it talks about so much within kind of healthcare and women, but it's so interesting and it just shows us that it's still happening. We're not being heard, we're not being listened to.
Um, And two, when you start telling a person, oh, it's in your head kind of thing, that severs the mind body connection.
Mm, it
And
really does.
so I don't know. I just think it's very interesting that this whole topic of medical gaslighting, what I went through, is now something that everybody's talking about. It's very
Not enough
interesting.
people, not enough people, to be
Not
honest.
enough, but a lot.
You mentioned thermography. I recently did my second episode actually with a doctor here. He runs a clinic in central London called The Natural Doctor, and he does breast thermography, bioidentical hormones, or stuff like that. And so just kind of pointing that out again for anyone listening, maybe if you do have breast implants and it's not just about checking for breast cancer, go there, go and see, go get some breast thermography, see what's going on in your breasts.
Yeah.
And the information for that is on my website if anyone is interested in checking that out. Something that was interesting that you said that really struck me was you were in this industry, in the beauty industry, and where a lot of times when people are very emotionally connected with something, they'll stop themselves from, it's the confirmation bias, right? So I'm not going to believe that because it will affect my livelihood. I see it, there's a product, I won't name the
Right.
company, it's an MLM company. Oh, hello, it's your little pup.
That's
Hi, little
me right
puppy.
here. Yes.
Oh, sweet. Um, yeah, there's a company here, and I had a client who works for this company and, has built this whole business around it. And she was telling me like this smoothie she was having for breakfast. And I was like, that's full of sugar. That's not okay. That's not what we want to be doing. We want to be starting your morning without that glucose spike. And there was this confirmation bias around, but this is the company that I promote every single day, so I can't possibly believe that. So it's
Right.
very interesting that you actually, your intuition still said, no, I need to follow this niggle regardless, because the one thing that I speak about a lot is energetic deaths, right? Especially for a woman, the rock bottom, the energetic death moment when we're forced into that black hole that
Mhm.
upends our entire life, whether it is our career, telling us to leave a career, a job, a relationship, a friendship, whatever it is, to do that, to go through that shedding process. And
Yeah.
every woman has to go through that multiple times in her life. But the problem arises when we resist that. And it sounds to me like you were super kind of in tune with your intuition telling you to go with that. And it's quite inspiring for women listening to know that when you're in an energetic death and you're
Mm.
being pushed to look at something and acknowledge something and really recognize and step into it, regardless of how uncomfortable it may be, then you have that rebirth. You have the opportunity for that rebirth, which is what's happened
Right.
to you.
It really did seem like there were, I don't know. bigger forces connected with this, because as soon as she said it could be your implants, it's not like I jumped on it and said, "Oh my gosh, great." I was in denial. I see the same thing with women that I speak to.
Mm.
And I thought, no, that just sounds crazy, right? I haven't had any, like I said to her, I haven't had any women coming into my office. But then I think over the next week or so, and I always say this, when God wants you to wake up, he's going to wake you up. And it was in a big billboard about a certain implant that caught my eye. And then a friend called and said, "You still are sick? You sound like my neighbor. You should call her." So I call his neighbor, who I didn't even really know. And she said, "Oh, I think it might be your breast implants." And so it's like now they were educating me,
Mm.
who was the one who worked in the industry. And perhaps that sounded a little bit ego for me, but I said, "Well, I've worked in the industry. I'm not understanding. I've never heard of this. They don't talk about this. In our industry, breast implants are amazing." Um, so so I do think, and I guess, yes, I've always been very intuitive, and I do trust my intuition, I have to say. I usually am right on most things for myself. But it was also that feeling of, I mean, can you imagine 7.5 years might not sound like a long time,
Oh, it
but
is.
when you're sick every day
Yeah.
for 7.5 years and you're not knowing what it is, it's really scary. And when you see that little bit of light, like that you can escape this, you're going to head to the light.
Mm.
I know that I did. I just thought nothing's going to stop me from trying this. I even had a few friends who said, "Oh, don't do this. Don't remove them. That's going to be a mistake. You're going to be unhappy."
Wow.
And I said, "I'm doing this. So, like, get out of my way."
I want to ask a question because this is something I have been pondering a lot. For women who have had mastectomies and reconstructions due to breast cancer, and implants give them a sense of feeling their femininity back, because when we lose our breasts, we can feel, I say we, obviously, thank God I haven't been through it, but I have had quite a lot of clients that have been through or are going through breast cancer. You have that feeling of losing a part of your feminine self.
Right.
And so, how do we manage that? Is there a way of gaining that back without implants, or would you recommend women still have implants? Because from my perspective, if you've had cancer, there's toxicity in your body. You want to do everything you can to not bring that back. And breast
Right.
cancer is a hormonal cancer. You don't want to be interfering with your hormones and the endocrine system. What is? But I can feel their grief at this,
Mhm.
and wonder, and probably a lot of them going, well, I'm going to do it because I need that sense of self
Mhm.
back. What do you suggest in that situation?
I mean, I do feel for them, of course, but I do hear from a lot of these women, and they say that the pressure to put breast implants in is so intense from the moment that they
Oh,
get that
really? So it's not
cancer
even coming from
diagnosis.
them.
Yeah, and it's almost like they don't feel like they have a choice. This is just what they've shared with me. Like we felt like we didn't even have a choice. Before you know it, they're showing you these breast implants and they're saying we're going to do this,
Right.
and so I wish that they had more time to think
Mm.
about it and to look into things, because many of them tell me that they don't. They
Yeah.
just blindly say okay
Yeah.
because they're so scared, like I was. And one of my dear advocate friends, Robin, she had breast cancer. She actually has had cancer 3 times and got breast implants, got sick immediately, removed them after a few months, and she did flat closure and she owns it. She's happy
Amazing.
as a clam. She's beautiful. Like so, and if I were faced with it after I'd been what I've been through, I wouldn't have any option but to do that as well.
Yeah.
And so I guess because I've already had the time to really think about it, for me, yeah, I want them not to feel that pressure. It's a societal pressure that all of us have felt to do
Right.
this.
This is the thing with cancer, as soon as someone hears the C word, you're not given any time. It's like all systems go, make this decision, this is what you're doing. And the advice I always give to people is take a breath, assess your
Yeah.
options, because there are options you have not heard about yet. And
Hmm.
there are ways to heal from the root cause. And cancer is only your body telling you about an imbalance. Something is out of balance in the body, and there are ways to balance it. And having that diagnosis is almost an opportunity to go deeper with your healing. And I've seen the most amazing things happen to women who have had breast cancer, or people generally with cancer, who have seen it as an opportunity to heal emotional trauma as well, and go on this deep journey of healing, and then they've never been healthier. But the problem is the medical system is like, right, you've got cancer, you need chemo, you need surgery, and you need to do it quick. And I just always say, whatever your decision is, number one, it shouldn't be made in a rush. No decisions should ever be made from a place of fear.
Yeah.
And number two, assess all options. You know, there is always another option.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I even see people who don't even get second opinions, and that is something that, of course, I would always, say that I would do too. So, yeah, it's that feeling. I get that. It's that pressure, and the pressure that I had. We're not going to remove these breast implants because it's not what's making you sick. And having to like fight for yourself when you are already in such a low place, that's not right.
I know, it's the dark forces at play. And can I tell you, in England, it's even harder to fight for yourself, because unless you have, so we have the National Health Service. I don't know if you're aware of it. Our healthcare is free. And I say free with quote marks because it's free at the point of service, but we pay for it in many other ways, obviously with our taxes, but we pay for it in many other ways, trust me. And you get what you're given and be grateful kind of thing. And I always say, and people come back and there's backlash, the NHS saved my life and the NHS did this. And I'm like, great, it saved my life when I had an ectopic pregnancy and I was nearly bleeding, internally to death. And had it not have been for emergency care, I would have died. But emergency care, neonatal care, great, and burns care, which comes under neonatal, which comes under emergency. But if you have a chronic illness, which I did since infancy, I was diagnosed with arthritis before my second birthday, and I was in that system my whole life. And I can tell you from experience, being in the system where you don't have a choice, that's the rheumatologist you've been assigned to, that's your rheumatologist. You'd better deal with it. And if you want to go and change that and you want a different rheumatologist, you better be prepared to wait for a year. And if you've got cancer, you might have to be prepared to wait for 3 to 6 months just to get, seen.
Right.
And so people are scared to fight in the UK, which I understand, because they're like, this could take longer if I try to get another opinion, and then what? And, we fall through the cracks, because when you're paying someone, they're going to give you whatever you want. And it might not be the right advice, but you're going to get seen quickly. And that's, the system in America. Here, it's a whole nother set of problems. And I know you guys have a whole set of problems I don't even want to get into right now, but it's a different set of problems here. And I understand why people have the fear about getting a second opinion. But I still think it's so important to focus on the fact that never make a decision from a place of fear. Go and assess your options. Be your own, advocate, your own doctor, and you take responsibility for your own well-being before waiting for someone else to do it for you, because only you can heal you. Only you can be your savior.
Yes. Oh, 100%. And you're right. And even now here, though, I will say I'm hearing from patients who come in, oh, I have a rupture. And I tried to go back to my plastic surgeon. He said he can get me in November. I'm like, what is going on in November? So I'm hearing that too. Or just, diagnostic testing. It's taking months for patients to get in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So our system is just completely overwhelmed.
When you spoke about kind of your friend owning it, not having the implants after mastectomy, I think that's a really nice segue into talking about holistic beauty as a whole and the standards that we have to live up to. Because your friend owning it is only because she's strong enough to go, I might look different to the Kardashians, but also that's okay. And I don't have to look different I don't have to look the same as everyone else.
Right.
We are held to such high standards when it comes to beauty. And have you ever listened to Mariam Hasnad? Are you aware of her work?
Oh, who's she?
She talks about beauty from a spiritual perspective, what beauty actually means. I don't mean aesthetics, like what beauty actually is. And I'm not going to even try and paraphrase how she speaks about it. It's about, a woman stepping into her power, her sovereignty to regain that level of beauty. And we can love our skin and our bodies. And but I know I do. I love fashion. I like makeup. I care for my skin. I do red light therapy 4 times a week for anti-aging, for collagen production. It doesn't mean you don't have to care, but it's about where is that beauty coming from and what is the vibration of it. So for me, Botox, which is a poison, is going to have a very low vibration, and therefore you are going to have a very low energetic
Yeah.
vibration. So what does beauty actually mean? And maybe we can start there, and you can tell me, what does beauty mean to you as someone who's worked in the beauty industry for so long?
And the breast implants have a low frequency
Oh
too.
my gosh, absolutely.
So I've always been different. I guess my mom is very natural. She's never done anything. So I'm just saying for me, I probably would have gone more of her route had I not been in the beauty
Mm,
industry. And of course, as soon as I started in my late 20s, my facial plastic surgeon I worked for, oh, you could use a little Botox up here, just pointing at my forehead.
oh,
Back
wow.
then, let me tell you, look at now with no Botox. At 20 something, I definitely did not need any. But again, I wouldn't have understood that at the time. And so I went into it a little blindly. What I did start noticing was by using medical grade products, I was looking older
Mm,
and lasers and all of these things than before. I was very inflamed. I had the breast implants too, which
mm,
may not have helped that. So I got into holistic beauty in the early like 2000. And Pamela Bond, an amazing esthetician, really got me onto that. She made her own products. They all smelled so yummy and natural.
mm,
And I realized that when I wasn't doing laser or using medical grade products, I looked better,
yeah,
which at the time you try to tell anybody that in the beauty industry and they think you're crazy.
yeah.
The other thing was no sun. I said to, because they get on you if you've been out in the sun, gotten a tan. Oh, no, no. So I literally didn't go out in the sun
Mm,
after the age of 27 because I just wanted to preserve my skin.
whoa.
Now we know like vitamin D, I'm deficient. Probably that was a really great reason. So now I try to go and spend some time in the sun each day. I love it. I'm not keeping track and I'm not burning or, anything like that.
No.
But what I would say over the years, I've never been the type to follow trends ever, not even since I was younger. I march to the beat of my own drummer. I'm confident enough to just say, this is what I'm going to do. And I don't really care who likes it or who doesn't. So I do think it's your attitude. But two, I always have found it interesting when people will just say, without knowing you, oh, you're so pretty.
Mm,
And I gotta get annoyed with it and
same.
say, but pretty is as pretty does to me. And so you don't really know me well enough to even say that. Now, what you might be referring to is you like my energy, because I think it's all energetic,
Yeah.
right? You can
Yeah,
have a
I mean,
person who's classically beautiful, but if they're not beautiful from the inside,
totally.
then I don't find them attractive.
You see that so much as well, like a classically beautiful woman. And I'm like, it's just nothing, shame, because all she's focused on is her external beauty. And actually, therefore, I don't feel any beauty from her. This is what we mean
Hmm.
by the vibration when it comes to beauty.
Right, right. So I believe in all of this. I love the times that we're in, but it is all a frequency.
Yeah.
Beauty has its own frequency, right? So, so yes, and that's why I'm also doing what I'm doing with holistic beauty because we are in Beverly Hills, the beauty capital, and we are all just consumed with this one kind of beauty they've been cramming down our throats.
Mm,
And hey, that's great for some of us, but for other ones, we need to celebrate ethnic beauty and holistic beauty. And I honestly think that your face should be like the rest of your body. You need to work out your muscles
mm,
in your face, not freeze them. So
absolutely.
I feel like, again, I look better from doing these buccal facials and things that really rush more blood flow to my
Mm.
skin because a stagnant lymph is what expedites aging.
So, what are some of your top holistic beauty tips that women can do for themselves?
Well, again, being mindful of the ingredients in your products, that's a big one.
Hmm.
And I don't really promote a lot of different ones. I want women to just empower them to figure it out for themselves. I don't want them just, oh, well, she does it, so that's what I should do. I think you need to really do your own research and look into things. I started using sea buckthorn oil with
Same. Do
my
you
weight
use living
loss.
libations? Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
do.
Yeah. I'm obsessed. I tell everyone about Living Libations. It's the best skin
Oh,
ever, right?
it's
And that's what it's called, guys. I'm not saying it's the best skin. It's called best skin ever. It's on my website for anyone interested. It's
yes.
dreamy.
I love the smell and it makes so much sense. I think before I thought, well, I'm sensitive, so I might break out from oils. No, the opposite.
No.
And my skin was just craving moisture after the breast implants
Yeah.
because my lymph wasn't working well. So that really impacts your skin and makes it quite dry.
Yeah. Do you know Nadine Artemis taught me so much about, she's the founder of Living Libations, and I mean her skin, she won't tell anyone how old she is because she doesn't want to give anyone like feel bad about anything, but she looks incredible, and she talks about going out in the sun every day, and she has a product called Everybody Loves the Sunshine, and she was the one that taught me about taking my makeup off with oils and
Mhm.
how to have like a skincare routine, and she's unbelievable. All her products are just unreal.
Yes, beautiful. And like I said, going out in the sun,
Yeah.
not a bad thing. I was so paranoid about that for so many
Yeah.
years. And the funny thing is, too, now that we know of all the chemicals in sunscreens and so forth, isn't that strange? I never
Oh my
wore
God, don't get
sunscreen.
me started. Yeah, every year I make a big post just before the summer about sunscreens because it is the question I get asked for the most next to supplements. What sunscreen or how, safe sun care and whatever. And it amazes me that the ingredients in conventional sunscreens are actually carcinogens and endocrine disruptors. And they're telling you, put this carcinogen on your skin to prevent cancer.
Mhm.
So this can cause cancer, but hey, use it anyway. And people are just believing it. I see it at school with my kids, like the parents like sending them in. So they've just had the weather was hot in London this week.
Yeah.
Who knows how long it will last, but it was hot this week. So the conversations on the groups have all been, are you sending the kids in with the sunscreen? Well, I slather it on in the morning to make sure they've got enough. Just slather it on them. And I'm like, these poor kids need vitamin D.
Yeah,
Leave them
I
be.
know.
And do you know what
Well,
I
I'm
do?
also,
And I hope the head of the school doesn't listen to this. I send my kids in with an empty sun cream bottle, and I just put like a plain moisturizer in it, just because they're literally in a covered thing. They're out for like 10-15 minutes at a time. They don't need sunscreen for that amount of time. Listen, if they were out for 45 minutes, an hour in peak UV rays, like 35 degrees, of course I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to be irresponsible. But I also know that my children need to have at least 20 minutes of uninterrupted sun exposure a day in order to be able to absorb the vitamin D.
yeah. Yes, I know. I know. I know. Everything that we've been taught, it's like the
I
opposite.
know.
But I think it's interesting that like intuitively, I just knew not to use those.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd
Mm.
being in the industry, etc. But also the wonderful things that juicing can
Mm-hmm.
do for your skin. In fact, I'm going to an amazing woman here in Los Angeles who does face mapping,
Oh,
where
yeah,
you can
amazing.
actually discuss, different maybe nutrient deficiencies that you're experiencing, and then you can use foods
Mm.
to improve whatever that may be in your skin and face. So.
And that's a personalized approach based on the mapping. So, for instance, the juicing that you're doing would be different maybe for someone else.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because our skin's going to show all the different regions of the body and how it connects with our organs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My girlfriend had under eye bags and she started using parsley juice, but she was drinking a lot of parsley
Oh,
juice from
wow.
it, but it worked. We saw a
Mm.
difference within a week. I thought that she had gone to have some sort of procedure done, but it wasn't. It was just the parsley juice.
Wow. So, what about
Mhm.
makeup? Because, I like to wear makeup, but I'm very
Mhm.
conscious of the brands I use. I only
Yes.
use natural makeups. I mean, should we be wearing less makeup? Should we be caring a bit less? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I always have. So, which, would get me into trouble when it was like a night out on the town with my girlfriends. And they'd be like, Amanda, can you please just like, we'll put some eyeliner on you.
Are
I
you
was
not
like, don't,
wearing makeup now?
I really don't.
Oh
No,
my
I use
God.
rosebud salve on my lips. Do you know rosebud salve?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, yeah.
I'm addicted to that.
Same.
And that gives you kind of a pink tint.
You mean the Living Libations one?
No, there's another one.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know
because
the
she does a
brand,
rose one
but
as well. I have
rosebud
it on
salve.
constantly.
Yeah.
You literally look like you've got foundation. like you've had Botox, like you've got mascara.
Oh, no,
Like,
I
not that
promise
you've
I
had
don't.
Botox in a bad way, that I just mean that your forehead, no, I mean, I can see your face moving, which is lovely. So I know you haven't, but your forehead is just so clear, and you're in your 40s, right?
But, like I said, I did use Botox for
Mm.
what, about 20, almost 20
Oh,
years.
wow.
So I was just talking to a woman at dinner last night, and she was saying the same thing. She's like, well, it still is pretty smooth. And I said, it is. And obviously, maybe that is because I used it for as long as I did. I
Mm.
guess we'll never know because I've done it. So I don't know what it would have looked like if I hadn't done it.
Yeah.
Um,
But your face
but
moves, so I'm guessing that it couldn't have held, because from people I know that do Botox, they say that what they didn't realize until they started was how frequently you've got to get it done, because it fades so quickly. So yeah.
in the last 2 years, I'm going to be honest, I even kept saying something to my practitioner. I was like, I don't think it's working anymore. So
Mm.
I already was kind of thinking to myself, I don't think it's going to work anymore. They say that that can happen to some people after a while,
Yeah.
but it wasn't working. So, but these facials I do, it rushes so much blood in that, that it is going to kind of prevent the need to have Botox or
Yeah.
filler. I never got into the filler thing
No.
a lot. They used me a couple times in our office way back when, I'm talking like 2002 probably, to do under eye filler. And I so regret doing that because it migrated and it actually ended up kind of in my sinus cavity a little bit. My
Yeah.
esthetician said she could feel it.
I
And it,
find, sorry.
no, so anyway, so I just never really got into the filler thing.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that people again have this confirmation bias around, I'll get it and it won't travel. It's just for my skin. It won't go anywhere. Like, your skin is porous. It is not made of stone. Whatever you put in your skin is going to travel throughout your body. And I don't know how I rant about this all the time because I speak about skincare a lot. And I did a post, a reel recently, a very angry reel about Botox. And in terms of what it actually is, the bacteria that Botox actually is. And, it's amazing that people will put aesthetics ahead of potential very damaging health risks. And I understand it because we are living in a society that values that. How do we come back to this place where we can value ourselves for what we are?
Mhm. Well, I just know for women like me who have gotten to that point, luckily, that we just, for me, I was so sick. I just wanted to live.
Mm.
I just wanted to feel normal again. And I was willing to do that no matter what it looked like. That's
Mm.
a quote that I always say and I said that to the surgeons. You let me worry about what it's going to look like because
Mm.
I can't feel like this anymore. And then it's going to take our leadership, I think, and just, setting the example
Mm.
for other women that they can do it too. I think that's really all we can do right now and be supportive of others. Because like I hear a lot, women who are very sick have tried everything else, think that it definitely could be their breast implants, the symptomology and so forth. But they say, but I would never take them out because I don't want a scar.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
Yeah. Give me
For
a scar over cancer or autoimmunity any day.
I love my scars. In fact, I didn't even use anything on my scars because I wanted them to show.
My
I
scars are
wanted that to be
horrendous.
part of my story.
My scar, because my skin goes keloid because I've got
Oh,
Mediterranean background, and so when I scar, and the scars
yeah.
from my explant are not nice, but oh my god, I'm so much happier with my breasts. Just so much happier generally to know that I don't have, because I was sick in other ways. For me, it was really hard to track the symptoms. But when I started having trigeminal neuralgia, the holistic neurologist that I saw said, she went through the checklist. Do you have any implants? I was like, yeah, I've got breast implants. And she was like, this is what it is. It's toxic. Your body's going into toxic overload. You need to have them taken out. And I was still breastfeeding. And I was like, oh my God. And then I went into this panic mode of, okay, I need to get it done. That's another story for another day. And I do talk about it on my episode with Rain. I'd love to talk about lip fillers. This is a question I get asked a lot. Lip fillers, like, are they okay? Are they? Personally, I don't like how they look.
Hmm.
Let's talk about actually what's happening with lip fillers.
I don't really get into the fillers and injectables just because I don't want it to dilute my message. I have an amazing woman on Instagram that I love, Gretchen, who has Never Talks. I think she's amazing. Um, and
Oh yeah,
Botox
I
and
follow her.
filler adversities. Do you know
Yeah,
them?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think she's great too.
yeah.
Um, Again, I have just seen situations, probably the one that stands out to me the most, with a woman who had filler under her eyes and her tear troughs
Mm.
and used some hyaluronidase to dissolve it, and it moved. And it was moving. She had the sensation of feeling like it moving, she said, through her face and downwards. And again, I don't know if that is true, but she was going to practitioners and there was not one who would help this woman. They said, well, we know how to put it in, but we can't really help you with
Mm.
what you're talking about. So I at least sent her to thermography again. They were able to locate it right in her sinus passage where she was saying that she was feeling it. And through some gentle lymphatic massage and so forth, she was able to, in her case, it was able to kind of work out to the point where she says she felt normal again.
Wow.
That is the only patient that I've truly helped with that scenario. But that's what I'm hearing more of,
Yeah,
it migrating
yeah.
or people having issues. But long term with breath, with lips and filler, I have not personally seen any studies or heard of that.
Just from a common sense perspective, in my mind, as someone who lives very holistically based on having to do that because I was so sick, my healing came about when I detoxed everything, when I healed from the root cause. So just not from a judgmental, but from a common sense perspective, it feels to me like putting anything inside your body that isn't meant to go in your body would probably have repercussions. But I just want to go backwards a bit, because when we spoke about, women kind of not that, there are women that will get in touch with me and go, but I'm fine. I've got implants, I've got Botox, and I feel fine. I'm not sick. And I'd like to touch on that because I think it's important to touch on the fact that people present, we're all made up differently genetically. So you're going to present differently to someone else. So someone else might have an instant reaction to their breast implants and you might not. Your reaction could be a slow, incremental buildup of toxins that leads to a tumor, as opposed to, instant hormonal disruption or whatever it could be. Just because you're not feeling anything now doesn't necessarily, if you have toxins in your body, there's only so much the liver can deal with. So I just think it's really important to mention that for anyone listening going, well, I don't really need to take that into account because actually I don't have any of those symptoms.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot. I call it your cup runneth over.
Yeah.
And we all have, right, like a different bucket of toxins.
Right.
And once it gets to be too much, that's when you're going to run into problems. And for some women, a holistic dentist I actually did a live with said this, and it was great. He goes, for some women, breast implants might not be your kryptonite.
Mm.
But like you can also, from what I understand from Gretchen reading about all the Botox and so forth, you can have so many positive injections, everything's fine. And then that one more is your tipping point
Right.
that can cause issues. So I think you have to look at, again, like holistic medicine does, you have to look at everything. Also, I noticed like unhealed traumas.
Mm.
Because I went through something very stressful right before all of my symptoms came out. And I see that with other patients. Oh, I just went through a divorce and all of my symptoms came out. Oh, I went through this and all my symptoms came out.
Mm.
So it really depends on everything else. I was not living the most perfect life when I had breast implants.
Mm.
I wasn't. I always say when I had toxicity inside me, I felt like I had it all around me. And that was like choices in men or, girlfriends or bosses and foods. I wasn't doing everything right. And that's why I hope to give hope to other women that in your 40s, I could change my life and start making better decisions for myself.
I think you've just made a really important point. Everything is multifactorial. So people will say, actually, this happened at that time. So it wasn't the breast implants, or it wasn't the pharmaceutical that I took, or it was such and such. But one thing can trigger the symptoms of another thing, or many things can be playing into it at the same time. And I truly believe that part of our problem as modern humans is we need everything to be black and white. We need everything to be just laid out very simply. And yet, history has taught us without a doubt that there is nuance to everything. Nothing is black and white. So it amazes me that we think that it is when it comes to healthcare.
Right. Right. It's not. And I think
No.
we're all finding that now. And people are having their own stories and experiences that are kind of waking them up to this. But a lot of the patients I speak to on a daily basis, we're on the same page. We really are. Just with our feelings on things and how it's shifting for us and changes that we're going to make for the future. So it's beautiful. I love that. It's like the collective. We're all kind of
Totally.
coming together and having the same experiences so that we can make, better for the future and for future generations.
That has been the blessing of technology.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned the lymphatic drainage, the massage and the good
Mhm.
food.
Mhm.
What are the other, like, bullet point things that can help us with aging, beauty, whatever you want to call it, that are going to support healthy aging?
I mean, blood flow, good blood flow. So one of my good girlfriends, we will sometimes work out together. And there are days where like I just can't get to the gym. And she's like, you've got to keep that blood flow going, right? Just like I talk about it in your face with the massages,
Yeah.
working out, pumping iron, running, and doing sprints. So like yesterday, I had my friend come over and we found an area and we worked out outside my house, right? Because I knew I wasn't going to get to the gym. Um, Infrared. I do the infrared sauna, really sweating.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what my body was missing for all those years that I had the breast implants. So it's really sweating. The things we don't want to do, because like I love going to Bikram yoga, but then I'm like, oh, but my hair is a mess.
Yeah.
But you feel so
Yeah.
good. Getting some vitamin D each and every day, even if you're at work, leave that office with the fluorescent lights, go outside, walk around, get some daylight.
Yeah.
For people these days, they don't even see the light of day
Mm.
ever. They're just in an office building all
Yeah.
day long. Um, like I said, I opted for not doing the Botox. I gave that up, but I now do the buccal facials or the gua sha holistic
Yeah.
facials that help. And I think my skin looks glowier and better now
Yeah.
than ever.
It really does. I love gua sha, and I do the sea buckthorn oil
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
my gua sha, my roller every night, and get that blood flow going, like you said. And actually, during the worst times in the trigeminal neuralgia, it would feel better when I would have to do handstands. I would have to be upside down because getting the
Yeah.
blood flow and having lymphatic drainage with my osteopath.
Yes.
I would probably also add water, like drinking enough water, good quality water, and sleep.
Yeah. So I love Alive Waters and I
Mm-hmm.
have it delivered to my house. It's a little more expensive, but it's structured water and it's so wonderful. Now I won't drink anything else.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just, when I travel and I was just in Scottsdale, Arizona, I'm telling you, every restaurant, they're like, I said, what? I always ask them, what kind of water are you serving? Oh, tap water from a Brita. I'm like, okay, I'll pass. And I have to go to Sprouts and get a special water that's spring water in a glass bottle because that's like the best thing I can find when I'm traveling. And it's so funny. I used to never go to sleep before midnight. That was my
Mm-hmm.
time clock. Do you know what time I go to bed now? 8 o'clock.
Amazing.
By eight
You're my
o'clock.
spirit
And I
animal.
sleep until like 8. But I really see, I didn't sleep well for years with the
Mm.
breast implants when I was sick. That makes you crazy. Like that, not sleeping well or getting up at 3 in the morning, like so many of my patients, maybe because your liver is giving you that signal. I now sleep like 10 or 12 hours. And so
Amazing.
I really do feel rested now.
Yeah. I think sleep and water are so important for our skin and our health, and detox and the mitochondria and just general health.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Awesome. So let's go into all about you, which is my rapid fire round. I always start with the same one, which is wellness is.
A lifestyle.
Mm.
It's not like just, I'm going to be well today, right? It's just a whole lifestyle that encompasses all of the things that we just talked about, mind, body, soul. I continue to heal myself. And we can all take that as far as we want. I have some women who explant and they never do another thing because they feel good enough. And then there are people like me who I just had my Akashic records done last week and incorporating more meditation into my life. Like I always want to keep working on myself and being better.
Amazing. The Akashic records are something very powerful and potent that everyone should be looking into.
Oh, amazing. I waited until I found the right person to do it.
Yeah, I work with my shaman on yeah, the kind of deep version, but we do work with the Akashic records. It's very, very potent stuff. Okay. One thing we should be doing to change our standards when it comes to beauty.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do now
Mm,
because, right, especially for women who have removed their breast implants, but just women in general, more and more are being made aware of all of the chemicals that are ingredients in not only our products, but in children's
yeah,
products
I
and
know.
cereals. It's just
It's
shocking. That's
heartbreaking.
why I think so many people started following me because I started posting about this. Um, we are the ones in charge. We're the ones who are buying these products.
Mm,
And so we have more power than I think we realize. And so the more that we keep spreading the word and more people wake up to it, we're going to make the decision with our pocketbooks, right?
absolutely. That's it. I had an amazing chat with Dr. Vandana Shiva. I don't know if you're aware of her work. She's, opposes Bill Gates, so obviously I love her.
Mm.
She's like his biggest opponent, and she's all about kind of, farming, sustainable agriculture, and
So
healing the
important.
land. They call her the grandmother of grain or something like that. And she says, consumer pressure is what changes the world.
Yeah.
Like, you think your voice doesn't play a part, it absolutely does. If you choose today to not go in to that pharmacy and buy that sunscreen, and you instead get a holistic one, a natural one from a small independent health shop, or you know uh, whatever sales website or whatever, you are changing the world.
It's true. It's true. And we're all changing it together because I always said during this whole thing since COVID started, we must rise up peacefully and take our power back. And
Absolutely.
the download I always got, and I am usually pretty right on with it, I felt like God was saying to me, He said, until you all come together, right, and start loving one another and being better to each other, this is going to keep continuing.
Totally. Totally. And
And
each
I
person who
believe
takes
that.
that on makes that change.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's happening. I
it
feel
is
it and I
happening.
see it.
It really is.
And it's
So many more of us are
beautiful.
connected as well to each other. And I see
Totally.
so many more people waking up.
Yeah, even when I'm out and about, I say to people, they think I probably sound silly, but even at the grocery store, at the post office, just the way you interact with another person, I see it. People are wanting that from being isolated for so
Totally.
long. And they're smiling. And I feel like my energy then passes on to that woman's, and then they're smiling more for the next customer. I
Totally.
see it and I feel it, and it's working. And that's how we raise the frequency.
Yeah, my daughter said to me the other day, she's only 4, she said, Mummy, why do you always say have a nice day when you buy something? I
Oh,
always make an effort to say, have a nice day, give them a smile, even if they seem moody or they're not happy. Like, maybe they've been on their feet all day in that shop. Maybe they've got stuff going on at home. Maybe they're struggling to, pay the bills, and that's why they're working there. And you never know. So I feel like, it's so important just to give good energy wherever you go.
absolutely.
Um, okay, the best book you've ever read? Because I love
Ooh,
this question because I'm such a book lover.
I like biographies. And
Mm,
so I'm trying to think of like the best one I've ever read. But like you give me a good book and I will not get up from
yeah.
reading it. I don't sit down with a book as much as I'd like to. But when I do, so it would be a biography. I'm trying to get back to me on that one.
I'll
Let
get
me
back
think.
to you on that one. And we've been through them, but these are the ones I've written, so I'm going to go through it. But if you had to narrow it down from everything we've spoken about, what is your top beauty tip?
Wow. I would say my top one, diet
Mm,
at the end of the day.
mm-hmm.
It has to be your diet. That's what's going to, I think, be one of the biggest influences. And that's so important because for a long time, I'm have a hard time gaining weight. And so I grew up in a family having 8-course Italian meals all growing up. And when I
Sounds
got
like
out
my
on my
family.
own, my mother is the most amazing cook ever. And I'd always be in the kitchen watching her, but I just never really got involved. So I ran into issues when I got to be an adult and I'm working all day long. And then I went to the gym at night. And the last thing you want to do is cook yourself a big meal
Mm.
at the end. So I developed probably not the best eating habits
Yeah.
more towards my 20s because I could kind of eat whatever I wanted.
Mm.
And that's not a good thing.
No.
That's actually not a good thing for people like me.
It's actually, because I always try to turn this around of like my genetic, I mean, I'm tall and narrow, but my genetic makeup is, we hold weight on our tummies, like that real like Sephardi Jewish, women who carry weight there. And I came to being able to flip it positively that if I could eat everything I wanted and was that kind of person, I probably wouldn't have gone so deep into my healing journey with food. And I'm so glad you said diet. I'm so glad you said it, because people, when I asked that question, might have hoped for a cream or something they can buy that's easy,
Oh,
and I'll
right.
put this cream on my
No.
skin, and it's always the lifestyle ahead of
Right.
everything. Before any cream you can use or any product you can take or anything any facial you can go and have, it's what you're putting into your body.
100%. And you can see it on your face and in your skin and on your body. I mean, just think about if had pizza and the inflammation it would cause. I see it in my legs, my
Oh,
upper
really?
legs,
Wow.
when I'm just sticking to my great diet. And it doesn't take many days to get back to that. I see my legs lean out. And so it's just so obvious what food does for
Yeah.
us.
Amanda, thank you so much. I've loved this. Where can people find you? Because your Instagram page is incredible.
Yes, even though it's shadow banned most of the time.
Same.
But it's the Holistic Beauty Coach. And I really love it. I would love too. More men are coming on, and I think
Yeah.
that's great too. And I am going to start sharing more about, men's health as
Great.
well, because we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And you'd be surprised how many men are on there to find out information about breast implants because they have a woman in their life or a sister in their life that has implants. And I think that's really amazing too.
That is amazing. Yeah, so happy the more men are coming to this work.
Yeah, they really are. It's nice.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We spoke about some really interesting things. You might have been triggered by some of them. Okay, journal about it. Let me know how you feel about it. We only improve and we only grow through being uncomfortable. There's no growth in comfort. There's no growth in stagnation. So if something here made you feel uncomfortable, you're thinking about, I have breast implants and I like my breast implants, or I like getting Botox, or whatever it is, go into that. Why are you feeling triggered? What is it about it that's triggering you? Either way, whatever you felt about this episode, I really hope you enjoyed it, took something away from it. If you did, please share it with someone who this could benefit, someone maybe who has breast implants or who wants to work on a more holistic way of aging and holistic beauty methods, or share it on social media because people will benefit from the content. And thank you once again for being here.